Welcome back, Yinzer Crazy Nation. You're listening to the Yinzer Crazy Show, supported by YinzerCrazy.com. Thanks so much. It's a happy midweek in September as your Pittsburgh Steelers are 1-0 after beating the Giants 26-16 on Monday Night Football to open up the season. And also your Pitt Panthers have entered the top 25, and we certainly have a relevant guest today in regard to that talk. Former Pitt quarterback, USC standout, also two-time high school player of the year, Max Browne is going to join us in just a few minutes here. I want to get right to that because he gave us some really awesome stuff. But first, of course, I want to touch a little bit on what to expect from YinzerCrazy.com and the Yinzer Crazy Show this week. I am Mike, always joined by JY, but flying solo today is JY. I'm sure is out making music somewhere in the streets. Absolutely killing the game, as always. I want to tell you that YinzerCrazy.com will have write-ups on not only Max Browne, our guest, but Steelers former running back, I should say, Chuck Sanders will be joining the podcast later in the week to talk a little bit about his former teammate, Jerome Bettis, who's currently one of his best friends, and also drop us some Steelers knowledge. But today we're going to get right into Pitt talk because Kenny Pickett and Paris Ford and Pat Narduzzi's squad has entered the top 25. And we're super excited over here, and we got some great takes from Max Browne about his perspective looking back at his college football career, and also about the growth of Kenny Pickett, your quarterback for the Pitt Panthers, who has really matured into one of the better players in all of the ACC. So without further ado, let's get right to it. We are thrilled to get the perspective of another standout quarterback. We've been fortunate to have a few on already this year, Bruce Gradkowski, and most recently former Steeler Pete Gonzalez, and we're thrilled yet again to bring in another man who has legitimately seen it all under center. It's former USC and Pitt quarterback Max Browne. Max, thanks for taking the time, man.
Of course, yeah. Thrilled to be here. Fired up to chat with you guys.
Happy to have you. So, hey, listen, two-time Gatorade Player of the Year in high school. Obviously, a career at USC and Pitt, playing for two prominent colleges on both coasts. I don't want to get political on you, Max, but put yourself back at USC in 2016, okay? You're getting ready to go out there and take on Bama and start the campaign. What would have been your reaction to being told you can't play while the rest of the country is in action?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would have been heartbroken, excuse me. I mean, especially for me and for those of your fans that don't necessarily know the ins and outs of my backstory, I kind of had sat at USC for many, many years, kind of waiting for my opportunity, and like that 2016 season was the season, and if it got canceled, I mean, I don't know what I would have done. That would have been probably the end of my SC journey, realistically, which obviously ended up transferring to Pitt anyways, but especially those juniors and seniors that lose out on that last year of eligibility, I mean, it's their world. When you're a college football player, that's you eat, breathe, and sleep football all the time. I was definitely one of those guys, and so to lose out on that season would have been horrible. Feel for these guys going through that right now.
Yeah, no question. Max is currently an analyst for SiriusXM Radio and a contributor on the Stadium Network. Max, you mentioned it yourself. It's no secret that maybe an outsider might look at your career and say things like, never lived up to the full potential and things of that nature. But as I mentioned earlier, you're well-traveled. You started games at two high-level colleges on both coasts. Do you kind of have perspective as you look back in your career a few years later, and how do you view it?
Yeah, that's a big message I kind of talk about on my social media platforms. The podcast I do on my end is you're spot on. I didn't live up to expectations. For your viewers, I was the number one quarterback in the country coming out of high school, and a lot of your viewers, I guess, they're Pittsburgh viewers, so they know me from Pitt. But nationally, like, people don't necessarily remember me, but they know guys in my class like a Josh Dobbs. I saw him on the screen last night, or like a Jared Goff, or like other guys in my class. A Baker Mayfield's that guy. So that message I speak to all the time because I know the deal. I do understand that. Looking back on my career, I'm one of the biggest college football busts ever, which is kind of crazy and heavy to say. But the reality is life goes on, and you got to go to the next chapter. And it was a blessing to play college football at USC and Pitt. Good memories for sure, but obviously some dark times as well, which is just the reality of life and the reality of college football. So a always trying to keep it real there, and wouldn't have changed anything. Football's given me so much, but there's also the other side to the coin as well.
I think the Pitt fans who remember the drubbing you gave Rice wouldn't necessarily classify you as or be as hard as maybe you are on yourself currently, Max. But that was certainly a moment that I'm sure you always remember.
For sure. That was when everything aligned. Bring me back to that one. That was
Hey, what advice would you give to a 5-star recruit maybe coming into college? You know, you just talked about having some perspective. You know, say the next Gatorade High School Player of the Year, and it comes to Max Browne and says, I'm enrolling at USC or Bama. What's some advice that you would drop?
Yeah, I always try to keep it light. I would say just have fun, and it's so basic, but I think especially in this social media age we live in where everything's so public, and I mean, it's even crazier than when I was in it. I mean, you talk about guys that are like sophomores in high school kind of being pinged the next up, or to even get into like middle school offers and all that. And so I would say just keep it light. I mean, I was a guy that took it super serious, and that trait is going to pay off for me in life, but the reality is I look back on my college experience, and I'm sure I had fun, sure I had some of my best friends to this day are as a result of college football, but with all the hard work and all that stuff, I look back and I'm like, dang, I took that super serious, and at the end of the day, I was like, I could have probably been a little bit lighter on myself at times, so I always try to keep it light. For these guys, they only get one shot at it. They only get one 4 to 5 year run, and so every season it's super precious, especially in a sport like football where you only get so many opportunities, whether you're a starter or backup, whatever. Always have fun with it, and it's kind of cliche, I guess, but it's definitely fun of mine for me as well.
Yeah, certainly great advice. Your career, I mean, you're a Washington guy, went to USC, transferred to Pitt, obviously, as we've touched on, and most of our fans will know you from there. You're currently working as an analyst in a few different capacities in the college football game. Who do you follow personally? Do you follow Pitt? Do you still follow USC? Where's kind of your fan allegiance at?
My fan allegiance, I am currently wearing a Pitt T-shirt, so I still represent. It's like the old, it's a little beat up. It's seen a lot of washes over the years since I went to Pitt, but no, I still consider myself kind of 50-50, and it kind of depends on, you said a bunch of different capacities. It definitely depends on the capacity. I think I have a couple degrees from USC, so in the professional world, I think I align more, and obviously I live on the West Coast in Los Angeles, so align more professionally with SC and stuff, but the reality is some of the football memories at SC aren't so fun, so I definitely align more, like football-wise, a lot with Pitt in that regard, but I'd be lying if I said, if I didn't allude to the fact that I'm the pre- and post-game voice on the USC football radio show, so naturally, kind of lean that way when the fall happens a little bit. But at the end of the day, grateful for my experience at both places. Met some unreal people, and I try to represent both whenever the time presents itself.
Well, you're doing a great job of it, dude. You are an honorary Yinzer, of course. Do you know the word Yinzer? Have you been briefed? I've
been briefed. I was briefed on my official visit by good old Alex Buxer and Mike Barsdell
amazing.
Back in the day. So, no, I'm aware of the term, but I did not know it before I took my official out to Pitt.
That's terrific stuff. Of course, a Yinzer in our book.
I was also introduced to Yingling beer too. I'd never heard of that, or like was not a thing. And I remember it was like December before my official visit out there, and I had like a family friend in my hometown was like, "Oh, Max, you're gonna love Pittsburgh. It's great. Hey, when you get out there, make sure to check out Yingling. Like that's their stuff out there. That's their stuff." I was like, "What the heck is this?" And sure enough, had one, and it'll always have a special place in my heart and my fridge, I guess.
Your life has never been the same. Yeah, exactly. We're certainly a blue collar town. It's all about Permanis, Yinglings, and Yinzers, man. It seems like you got that down pat for sure. So hey, listen, real quick, you were there in 2017 when Kenny Pickett was on the team, and Pitt is certainly relevant now. They've entered the top 25 this week for the first time, obviously this season. What can you kind of tell us about Kenny Pickett as a person, his makeup? Do you guys keep in touch at all? Did you form a relationship? Obviously, you were much older when he was there as a freshman.
Yeah, we definitely formed a relationship. Like you said, he was the young guy, I was the old guy, but we were both the new guys at that time. We literally came in the same day. So I remember it was me and all the incoming. So he graduated high school early. So we kind of came in. Our first day was together, and he's a stud. I think. Another guy I played with, Sam Darnold. Kenny and Sam were the two quarterbacks that had the smoothest transition into college that I've seen, just in terms of the speed of the game and getting the ball out of their hands. And I don't take that comp lightly. I don't think Kenny's necessarily going to be a first-round pick, but he definitely has NFL on his radar for sure, and he's definitely going to get a shot there. And I think he has all the talent in the world to make a team for sure and be ready to go when his time comes. But no, he's a stud, and I think you could tell right away. I remember having conversations with Sean Watson, who was our OC at that time, and Narduzzi. They knew they had someone special. Mm-hmm. I think that jumped off the page right away, just with how he transferred over. And he's just a good dude, man. At the end of the day, very, very little ego, very down to earth, and he's a good dude. And there's a reason that he's easy to root for, and all his teammates love him. So, no, we still stay in touch a little bit, just on Instagram, like comments and DMs and stuff. And great dude, and hoping all the best for him this year.
A lot of interesting stuff there. Our Pitt faithful will be happy to hear that as they continue to root on their Panthers this season. It mentioned that you're an analyst for SiriusXM. You're on the pulse of college football scene every day, Max. Is anybody beating Clemson this year?
Oh, the ACC's got to pick it up. Yeah. The addition of Notre Dame helped them, but I'm going to say not in the regular season. College football playoff, we'll see. There's some guys out there. I'll go. There's so much firepower on Clemson. Trevor Lawrence, all those guys coming back, and a relatively easy schedule. I think the Clemson Tigers are poised for another big season for sure.
Former college football standout Max Browne and current SiriusXM contributor, as well as USC pre and post game analyst. Correct, Max?
That's correct.
Where can we hear you coming up in the future, man?
Yeah, I'm kind of all over. So all the social media channels, Max Browne on Instagram, Max Browne 4 on Twitter, and then like you said, I'm on TikTok a little bit now as well. So Browne Max there, and then like you said, on SiriusXM, do some stuff for USC, do some stuff for Stadium as well. The Midwest Network out there, talking kind of Big 12 and ACC up there. But yeah, follow me on social, and I kind of post all the links there. So. Anyone who's interested, kind of all over college football. So it's a good time, and glad football's back.
Max, all of our followers, and including myself, would like to give you a virtual cheers right now, a virtual Yingling cheers for jumping on with us, man, and sharing some of your knowledge. And obviously, you've made a lot of fans in Pittsburgh in what was a relatively short time. So certainly. Well-accomplished individual, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have you on YinzerCrazy.com. Thanks again, Max.
I appreciate that. I'm a proud Pitt man, so thanks for having me on.
That was awesome. It's also made me pretty thirsty right now on a Wednesday afternoon. It might be time to go grab a cold Yingling out of the fridge, Pittsburghers, and check out some more Yinzer Crazy content. We have Steelers write-ups every day, Pitt write-ups, Penguins, Pirates, everything in your Pittsburgh sports world. We're happy to be the fastest growing Pittsburgh sports website on the map. So do us a favor, check it out. Once again, we can't thank Max Browne enough for joining the show. And like I said, some really intriguing stuff right there. Picking Clemson, likely to win it all. Comparing Kenny Pickett to Sam Darnold certainly is high praise, but I love the analysis he gave in regard to the decisiveness and getting the ball out quick, because that's certainly something we've seen Kenny Pickett do all season, is get the ball out quick. I should say all his entire college career is get the ball out quick to his targets, and he's efficient in the red zone. The guy is mobile, kind of like Darnold as well. Sneaky speed, deceptively fast, I would say. Once he gets out of the pocket, he can really create plays. And who better to hear it from than a former quarterback who spent years under center, dominating the high school ranks, and then, really had some tumultuous times. He admitted it at USC before transferring to Pitt and, becoming a household name in Yinzer Nation. So we thank Max. We look forward to interviewing Chuck Sanders this week, former Steelers running back, as mentioned earlier. Keep in lock with YinzerCrazy.com for all of your Steelers and Pittsburgh information moving forward. We're excited to watch Pitt the rest of the season, and we're excited to keep our pulse on the NFL and college football season as fall is here. And that crisp air, well, it feels really good when football is back. There's no question about it. All right, I'm Mike, and for JY, we are Yinzer Crazy. Peace.
Black stripe, yellow paint. I hear they scared of it, but them pros ain't. Soon as I hit the club, look at them face. Hit the pedal once, make the floor shake. Sway inside, my engine roaring. It's the big boy, you know what I paid for it.